Deny the lie.
Hello, welcome back to Deny the Lie. For those of you who are new, my name is Simone.
My name is Tony.
Yeah, and we have a fun topic today. Shouldn't take too long. But Tony and I thought that talking about frequencies would be a good idea when it comes to meditation and overall health when it comes to your body.
Yes, and there are certain frequencies that can help your body, and there are some that have found to be harmful. But as far as frequencies go, there are a few that we can name off. We're going to be talking about these just to kind of sum them up, just for anybody who's not as informed about them. It's some of them are for meditations, and then others are just like frequencies in general.
Yeah. A definition that I found that is very simple for me to understand and probably for you guys as well is that a frequency is the rate at which a vibration occurs that constitutes a wave either in a material, electromagnetic field, or usually measured per second. So that's the scientific definition of it, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, and then going into the types, first of all, there's the alpha wave. Now, this is what you mostly feel during wakefulness, and this brain wave is triggered when you're engaged in activities like dreaming, like daydreaming, meditation, mindfulness, and it can reduce depression and improve some creativity. So that's what makes it optimal for meditation. And then the delta frequency, that's more of a low frequency, and that's what is usually happening during deep sleep, along with dreaming. And then theta, that's deep relaxation, and that helps with your creativity, better intuition, daydreaming, and fantasies. That's what makes it a little bit better for meditation as well. And it's also responsible for keeping memories and better managing your emotions. And then beta, that's when you're working on goal-oriented tasks like planning something or actively like reflecting on a problem. It's great for attention-based things. That's what I like to call the flow state. That's that brainwave. And then lastly, there's gamma, which is the fastest brainwaves produced in the brain, and they're produced when you're intensely focused or engaged in a problem. So it's kind of like it's similar to beta, just a little bit faster. And then, so with all this being said, how do you actually increase your brain frequency? You can do that through making meditation a habit. The reason why we say meditation above pretty much everything else is because that's what's shown to increase the alpha waves or the relaxation and reduce the beta waves, which is why it's often prescribed for people with high amounts of stress and just to feel better in general. And when you actively turn the mind off, you're being more in the present moment, and it turns off that stress and anxiety and just makes everything just a little bit easier.
Nice. Just to give you a little pop quiz question, because I actually don't know the answer to this. When you say delta waves, they're a low frequency. A lot of people or myself get confused with the low frequency meeting. So is it
Oh,
technically bad to have a low frequency or
oh yeah, I
you
should have
just
said that a little bit differently. No, low frequency. What I mean by that, we're just talking about the brain wave. I'm not talking about low frequency as in kind of like a vibe meaning. I mean it
okay,
as like your brain's not active, so you're gonna have lower brain waves, and they're gonna be a lot
gotcha.
longer.
Okay, good to know. Okay. I was
Yeah.
a little concerned because some of my findings I'm like, oh, are low frequencies actually good for you? All right. Well, from that awesome information, thank you. I went to this holistic website because I wanted to find out more of what Tony was basically summarizing for the frequencies, and I found this really cool article. It's the Awakening Times is like I said, a holistic website, and it says, in theory, if we can keep the frequency in our bodies above 62 megahertz, diseases and harmful microorganisms could or would have a very hard time surviving in our bodies. To prevent the frequency in our bodies from dropping to low levels, we need to avoid eating junk food, canned food, and processed food as much as possible, as well as we need to continue to meditate on a daily basis because meditation increases the frequency of our energies. So, tying in from our brain waves that Tony just talked about and then having meditation, Tony, what is one way that you encounter keeping your frequency higher? I know you mentioned meditation, but what are some frequencies that you would like to listen to or you enjoy listening to help you, feel a better mood in meditation?
For the most part, I don't listen to a whole lot of other things. Uh,
Mhm.
I guess maybe just some music sometimes. Some of like the regular pop hits or like, Fetty Wap. I
Yeah.
don't know. Just something that's a little bit, high vibe and kind of pops a little
Mhm.
bit and feel like kind of moving and, just it just kind of picks you up a little bit.
Right.
And that's basically all I do. What about
Yeah.
you?
For meditation, I usually just try to find a higher frequency to listen to. For example, 639 hertz is replicates positive energy. 963 is helps with sleep and relaxation. There's so many of them. Let's see. 528 is a transformation for DNA repair. 639 apparently also means reconnects with your relationships.
Mm.
741 helps, self-expression. So there's so many of these that we could choose from. Although I don't really know which one is correct, but
Do you
overall the best. Go ahead.
Here, sorry to interrupt you. Do you believe that those actually do kind of what they're saying, or do you think that that's more of a clickbait thing?
I think it's both because like I just said for this one, I found this on another holistic website. 369 replicates positive energy, while this site it says something different. So I think it's clickbait, but they also have the same, connotation with this. Like it's just helping your well-being because it is a higher frequency. So I think that's what really matters. And I like how you brought up the point about music. It's pretty interesting for music nowadays is that a lot of them are kind of negative with their meaning behind it, and a lot of them are recorded at a certain frequency. So before this episode, Tony and I actually researched a lot about music. Nowadays, 440 hertz is the standard for music to be recorded at. So we found
Right.
these two clips that compared 440 hertz to 432 hertz, which is actually 432 is a lot better for you in the sense of vibrational purposes and being more positive. So, Tony, what do you think about the differences between the two? Like, what did you find with our findings?
So when you listen at the 432 hertz, it sounds like it's been compressed a little bit.
Mhm.
Nothing kind of it's just more relaxing to the ears. It's kind of hard to explain. Like
Yeah.
we'll put a clip in for you guys to listen to in a bit because you can kind of tell the difference with certain songs and with other ones, maybe not. I think it's more noticeable, especially with rap songs,
Yeah.
because when the 432 hertz, it sounds almost like there's a lot of white noise or something like that behind it.
Mhm.
Like the synths are a little bit higher and the bass is kind of lowered as well. But at the 440 hertz, everything just sounds really crisp and kind of like just going ham. Like that's that's the only way I can kind of
Right.
describe it. It feels like you're more pumped up listening to it and you feel a little bit more on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
That's what I had. I don't know about your experience with that though.
I honestly had the same findings. For some reason, I had a massive headache right when I listened to 432. I think it's because I'm not really used to listening to that type of frequency in music. 440 sounds completely normal to me. Although I found this off of another search. There's a conspiracy behind 440 hertz. There's allegedly something sinister and evil about 440. It's said that Rockefeller Foundation had an interest in making sure that the United States adopted the 440 hertz standard for war conscious purposes. That's actually pretty interesting. And they also go into a theory about how it turns into a military weapon. So I think they're programming us for some reason for 440, and because it's from the 1950s, we're so used to listening to that. So I think that's why maybe a few other people could experience the same thing that I'm experiencing. It's just interesting though because it says it's not very good for us. But I honestly felt more harm done with the 432 hertz, even though it's supposedly better for you. So,
That might be an individual thing as well.
mhm, yeah.
And referring back to like the war on consciousness or maybe the more control aspect,
Mhm.
I think that they've been using frequencies like that for that long. But I saw a clip of a guy. It was a company that makes these like frequency machines, and
Mm.
they did a test where they took a group of people, put them all kind of, in a line, and then they played this thing. It's kind of like a bullhorn or something. It played a certain
Yeah.
frequency, and it hurt their
Mhm.
ears so much that they actually started running away.
What?
Yeah, so I think it's the frequency that you could use that to not only get people to go somewhere, but also to kind of get people the hell out of there if you don't want them there.
Right. Yeah, and that kind of I think that ties in really well with the war conscious idea. So, really quickly, I listened to this podcast. I love listening to other podcasts. And there's this one on Spotify that is about conspiracy theories. I could clip it in the description as well because I don't want to take their information for ours. Yeah, so it's just conspiracy theories on a Spotify original, and this one is the mysterious humming. So it ties into what you said because apparently there's this location where only people heard this humming, and it's in this distinct vicinity area. If you go a little longer in the distance, you don't hear the frequency anymore. So these people experience lots of headaches, nausea. They're very annoyed. It actually caused one guy to kill himself. So these guys did a whole bunch of research into like what could cause this, humming. And one finding that I thought was very interesting is they brought up the idea of the Zug Island, and it's basically where there's the U.S. defense is there, and they had, like you said, the prisoners all locked up in there pretty much, and they played this microwave frequency to test against for war purposes. And I looked up, well, what's so bad with microwave frequency? Apparently, it's the frequency ranges from 300 megahertz to 300 gigahertz. And I looked at the symptoms, and again, it's headache, diarrhea, nausea, all of that stuff. So it's very interesting how the military can use frequency to harm people, but also to benefit.
Yeah, exactly. And I've also heard things too that like it can hurt the microwave frequency can also like hurt the layering of your eyes. Not too
Mm.
sure what that even means, but I
Yeah.
think maybe it's like your pupils or something like that. And
Yep.
what's really funny about microwaves is that there's only like one piece of plastic keeping all of that in there.
Yep.
Like it's just
Yeah.
it's just a little piece of plastic on the front that's like keeping all that from coming out. And if you took that plastic off and turned it on,
Yeah.
somehow if you were able to do that, like the
Mhm.
paint would come off the walls.
Jesus. Yeah. I remember a few episodes ago we did this. Remember we did this experiment where we only ate like super whole foods and whatnot, and we used this lady's podcast episode to inform us on what we were doing. And she mentions that we shouldn't use microwaves in general. Because I'm poor, I don't have a microwave after I just moved into my apartment, so I'm just too lazy to get one. And I actually haven't noticed a difference overall of my like health. It's been 4 months since I've used one. I'm like, but it's funny how you mentioned that there's literally just a piece of plastic protecting us.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I don't think you're gonna feel like a super big change. Like it's not gonna be
Right.
like the gates of heaven open up and you're gonna be lifted. It's
Right.
it's not stuff like that.
Right.
But the thing with microwaves is that it cooks the food from the inside out. And that's
Mhm.
why they tell you to cook stuff in pans because you're cooking the food from the outside in, like you're supposed
Right.
to do. That's the reason
Yep.
why they tell you not to use microwaves because it's killing most of the nutrients in the food, so it's more
Yep.
harmful.
It's just very frustrating on how complicated everything is. Now we should only listen to certain frequencies, cook with certain foods. Don't use this. Don't use an aluminum pan. Don't use a microwave. Everything is very
Once
toxic for us, and
yeah, once you
yeah,
realize how manipulated you are to use certain daily items like a
yep.
microwave and stuff like that, you just realize it's like, dang, if you really wanted to live, the no processed, absolutely everything organic, it's quite difficult.
Yeah. Plus, you've got to be, I think, pretty well off to afford all of that food. I know. Well, especially right now with inflation. I think I
Yeah.
used to spend $60 on groceries for a week, and now I'm spending a little over 100. Not that dramatic, but when you're in college, it's kind of pricey. And
Yeah, that's a bit
organic is
much.
only could be triple the price. And that actually brings up something that reminds me of this cool topic that how I saw this article on this holistic website, Awakening Times, and this guy talks about how frequencies can cure cancer and whatnot. I don't
Mhm.
think I kind of believe in it. I haven't heard too much about it, probably because the big pharma doesn't want us to know about it because they're, you can't really profit off of that. But he talks about how frequency devices are able to kill cancer cells without harming healthy cells because the frequency can, target certain negative cells. Um, it says here also scientists can use frequency devices to generate a specific frequency that can destroy cancer cells. This can also be applied to bacterias and viruses. And I love how we don't ever hear about this because, again, it doesn't make us money.
There is
So,
a there is a thing though. It's called a biocharger. I don't
hmm,
know if anybody's heard of it, but inside of it, it actually helps like to recharge your energy in your cells in your body. And there are like
hmm,
specific programs that you can do where okay, so it's basically just a Tesla coil with a bunch of um chemicals around it like argon, helium, krypton, mercury, neon, xenon, stuff like that.
hmm.
And it basically emits uh light in certain patterns and frequencies in order to kind of recharge your electrical body.
Wow, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, except it's like 16 grand.
Oh yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah,
there's
that's
no way that's affordable. Gosh,
it is really cool. And I
yeah,
have seen one and it's really it's quite interesting because when you do the program, you feel there is some like energy in the air. And when you're sitting around this thing, just, doing the programs, you can't really like use your phone, like take off all your jewelry and stuff because, it's
right.
electricity
Mhm.
and it'll mess up your phone. And I tried using my phone one time, won't do it again. But,
Yeah.
um, yeah. And I also got shocked pretty good just from like my watch or something like that. But that's
Oh
why you
boy.
gotta like get rid of all your
Yep.
jewelry and electronics and stuff and sit around it. But I can't say for certain how well it works just because, maybe I'm pretty healthy, so I probably don't
Right.
have as many like autoimmune diseases as maybe somebody else who could benefit from it. But you do feel some sort of like energy in the air when you're around it and it's going. It's really strange.
Actually, really cool. I'm very curious to see how our generation is going to be when we're, 15s and 60s. A lot of studies have shown that they're seeing, an increase of kids our age getting all these diseases that normally would occur in older people, just because of big pharma and how just the food they give us is just not good. So I'm glad
Oh,
they're finally coming up with, like you said, that electromagnetic, like what was it called, the charger,
it's a biocharger.
biocharger. Yeah.
Yeah. They're pretty cool to see. But I'm also more not only about like the diseases that we're gonna have when we're older, but I think we're gonna be so much harder to take care of because we've been looking at like my eyes are really bad now. Just from looking at like blue light, all the like I can't not use my laptop now. I also can't
Yeah.
not use my phone because everything I do on a day-to-day basis, everything's online. So I have to be looking at a screen pretty much 24/7. And,
Mhm.
that and entertainment all on blue light screens, which
Right.
reduce your eyesight and the health of your eyes. So
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have a lot more cataracts when we're older. And
Oh, yeah.
that and along with hearing as well, because, the headphones, not only, like,
Oh,
stuff in
yeah.
the gym, but, people just having headphones on 24/7, especially with the AirPods, because those actually send frequencies from one AirPod to the other through your brain. So it's actually transmitting through your brain, so your head's kind of like the middle. So
Is
I think we're gonna have a lot
Oh,
more
yeah.
problems, but I mean, we can get there when we get there, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, everything in moderation. I really don't think we need to cancel out, our AirPods, our phone, because it is a
Yeah,
way of
yeah.
life. I think if
No,
you
no, like you can't live without it. Like
Exactly,
you
especially
can't.
now. Yeah. Honestly, I try to go by moderation. Just it's hard to, like you said, we really can't, not have our technology. So as long as you do your meditation, you stay healthy, some fruits and veggies, you're more upbringing, then I think we're okay. Meditation with these high frequencies always helps me. Just a personal preference I like to see. So maybe one of you guys who haven't tried this before, try it out. See if you like it. Frequency is way of life. I don't think there's.
Yeah, it's really hard to break down into like a logical sense of pretty much what it is, because it is kind of hard to define once you listen to it for what it is, and you kind of go into like you get into the actual science of why does this frequency make me feel like this and why does this one make me feel like that. It gets really interesting.
I forgot to mention, there's actually something really cool I found, that for those of you who want to open your third eye or the pineal gland, 963 is a God frequency, which I don't know how they found that. So who knows if it's clickbait, but just try it out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you know
that's
what that is?
It's, I don't
know. Maybe
but
we're missing something.
Probably. But I think I've tried this before, and I just felt lots of buzzing in my chakra, third eye area. So that's kind of fascinating, I think. Who knows if it does anything? That's what we can't really prove.
Right. And I think if it does do something, it takes kind of a while. You're not going to sit down the first time and do it.
Yeah, everything takes time.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I had for frequencies. It's not a very big topic to talk about. Tony and I just thought it would be a good way to, increase overall morale of people. I know there's been a lot of negative things going around on the internet and the overall just well-being of, humanity with, what monkeypox and COVID and whatnot. So just another fun thing to try. Yeah.
Yeah, that monkeypox thing is a last-ditch effort.
Oh my gosh.
Ain't nobody believing that, bro.
I've seen some videos of like people who actually have it and it looks disgusting, so.
Well, if it's really as deadly as they're making it seem, then we'll see when we see, I guess.
Hopefully we can just ignore it and then it goes away, but I think did we try that with COVID? I don't know.
Well, with COVID, you kind of couldn't really ignore it because they put it in your face every 3 seconds.
Yeah, people are they're like, no way am I going to do the masks. No way are we going to go back in quarantine. If they really, really try to do this to us again, I would love to see what's going to happen. Yeah,
it's really not going to happen. They're going to see a civil war if that happens.
Oh, yeah. Which maybe is what they want. I don't know. It's very hard to read the government.
No, they just want as much division as possible before November, but we're getting kind of off topic, so we're just...
But yeah, do you have anything more to add to the frequency?
No, that was pretty much it. But if you guys have any questions or topics you would like to hear discussed or us to kind of take a look into, please feel free to email us at denythelie@gmail.com. No caps, no spaces. And with that all being said, we'll see you in the next one.
Power. Money. Total control. Deny the lie.